The U.S. economy added 147,000 jobs in June. That was more than expected. The unemployment rate fell slightly to 4.1%. Here to talk more about all this, NBC News senior business correspondent Christine Romans and Investopedia's editor-in-chief Caleb Silver. Good morning. Good to have both of you with us. So, Christine, it has been a resilient first half of the year for the U.S. jobs market, despite all the questions about tariffs and everything else. Let's just start with the numbers. Walk us through where this jobs report.
I think resilient is the word. 147,000 jobs added. That's right in line with the average for the past year, about 146,000. That jobless rate fell a little bit. Average hourly earnings still a little light, but still, that's your paycheck. The paycheck growing 3.7% over the past year. So if you have a job, you're being compensated for it. So the headlines here are all pretty sturdy. Also, the month of May was revised higher, kind of defying expectations, but you dig in these numbers. Private sector was not what was really driving things. It was state government jobs driving this job growth. So seeing the weakest private sector job growth since last October.
Yeah, so Caleb, I think a lot of people have been waiting for things to sort of take a bad turn. When you look at DOGE, when you look at sort of the economic uncertainty surrounding the tariffs, what does this say about the state of our economy right now?
It's stronger than a lot of us thought it might be at this point in time. And as Christine said, a lot of the headline numbers look really strong here, almost surprisingly strong. We had April and May revised higher. You have the unemployment rate dropping from 4.2% to 4.1%. Less workers out there. That brings the denominator down. And when you look at the government jobs, we did lose 7,000 federal government jobs. Those are the DOGE cuts, 69,000 total so far. But other government jobs, local and state government, was probably the most aggressive hiring sector here. So there's a lot of strength and resilience in that part of the economy right now. Not a lot in private sector. We got the private payrolls earlier this week. That fell 33,000 jobs, first drop in several years.
And that was, of course, a big headline yesterday morning, which made people wonder what we would see today. Just beyond the government jobs, when we break it down by industry, anything else standing out here?
Healthcare. Okay. And I think in light of this big, beautiful bill discussions that's happening right now with Medicaid, potential cuts that could hurt rural hospitals, you are seeing a really consistent driver of employment from those very kinds of facilities, residential care facilities, nursing home facilities, job gains in hospitals. So you can see healthcare continuing to be a really important engine of the American economy here. Also, we talked about state government employees, federal government down, but little change really in things like mining and quarrying and manufacturing and wholesale trade, which is kind of as expected with all the uncertainty over the president's trade policy.
All right, which brings us now to the Federal Reserve. We know the president wants them to drop the rates. They have not done that recently. Caleb, how far away are we?
Oh, just 27 days, 5 hours and 15 minutes. But what's interesting, in just the last few minutes, we watched the percent possibility of a small Fed rate cut next month or the end of this month go from 25% down to like 2%. So this shows that the economy is in pretty strong shape. If you're the Federal Reserve and Chair Powell, you're saying, I really don't see any reason to make any changes here. There's probably not going to make a change to interest rates, but you're definitely going to get more rage coming out of the White House demanding lower interest rates right now because that lowers the interest we pay.
You want lower rates when things are weak. This is not a weak number. So you don't want to goose an economy that is still potentially could churn up more inflation.
And could have more inflation as of next week, as of April 9th.
That's right.
All right. So what are we seeing when it comes to wage growth right now?
So wage growth was pretty decent. It was a little lighter. The expectation was 0.3%. It was 0.2%. It sounds like a lot of numbers for everybody having breakfast this morning. But essentially, your paycheck is growing 3.7%. Like, I've been really watching the number of people who are recently unemployed. And you're seeing kind of this bifurcation in the labor market. If you have a job and you're employed, you're getting decent wage growth and you're in good shape. If you're recently unemployed or you're recently graduated, that's where you're starting. That first tier of the job market is where you're starting to see some signs of weakness, which is as expected. The companies, the first place they try to pull back if they're uncertain is what? New hires. So if you have a job, those people are doing quite well. People who are recently unemployed or recent college graduates are starting to see some cracks in the labor market.
We had Sharon Epperson on yesterday from CNBC who talked about revenge saving, something we're starting to see. People are simply saving more. Just right now, what is going on for the average American consumer when it comes to the economy, the job market, all of it put together?
Yeah, they were bracing. We're all bracing for higher prices due to tariffs, but we haven't really seen them yet across the boards or in major ways. So people have been saving, and that's a good thing. That said, if it slows down spending, that slows the economy. Got to spend a little to keep the economy churning. We saw that GDP number for the first quarter come in at, 0.5%. Yeah. That is not a strong, growing economy. That said, it's not weak, and there are job gains here, especially in certain sectors. So people are saving. Good news, but we also know consumer debt is very high as well.
right. Caleb, Christine, thank you both.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.